Hey guys, let's get more news about Dolphins, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Dolphins must avoid the temptation to add fan favorite prospect at number 13. Miami Dolphins fans are drooling over the prospect of drafting Penn State tight end Tyler Warren, but history should give us a clear indication of what they won't do. It was a surprise when the Dolphins drafted another Penn State tight end, Mike Gesicki. Despite using a second-round pick on him, they still drafted Durham Smythe the following day. This year, Warren is a likely top 10 selection, and fans have refocused their attention on names like Mason Taylor and Elijah Arroyo. Currently, the roster isn't horrible at the position. Jonnu Smith will return for a second season after posting one of the best seasons in his entire career with Miami last year. The Dolphins remain high on Julian Hill despite the ebbs and flows of his play. Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel hope Hayden Rucci continues to develop, as well as Tanner Conner. Miami lacked a tight end who could block well, but it addressed that concern with free agent signing Pharaoh Brown. It would be rather shocking to see Greer, in what could be a critical season for his future, use a draft pick for a tight end on days 1 or 2. The Dolphins have much bigger needs on the roster, and luxury is not something that will play into the equation. If Warren falls to the 13th overall pick, the Dolphins should not consider drafting him, but instead field calls to trade the pick. Perhaps they could use the additional draft capital to improve their tight end depth later on. Drafting a tight end early would be a luxury, but the Dolphins have far too many other areas of need to prioritize early in the 2025 NFL Draft. Baltimore Ravens, Miami Dolphins reportedly competing for Pro Bowl defensive linemen. The Baltimore Ravens and Miami Dolphins have been two of the quieter teams in NFL free agency, making marginal additions to the roster without splurging big on top players. With the price of the remaining free agents coming down, Miami and Baltimore are both competing for a familiar name. Baltimore's free agent signings focused on the offensive side of the ball. The Ravens signed quarterback Cooper Rush to back up Lamar Jackson and landed wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. In addition, the club also re-signed Patrick Ricard and Tylan Wallace. Miami also spent most of its money on the offense, landing guard James Daniels and wide receiver Nick Westbrook. The team also re-signed linebacker Tyrell Dodson and landed safety Ifeatu Melifonwu. With a few holes filled, both teams are now attempting to bolster their defensive line. According to Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald, defensive lineman Calais Campbell is considering signing with the Ravens, Dolphins, and a third unidentified team. He's also open to retiring, but the current expectation is that he'll take the field entering his age 39 season. Calais Campbell's stats: ESPN, 35 solo tackles, 5 sacks, 5 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble. The 6'8" defensive tackle was one of the oldest NFL players in 2024. A member of the NFL 2010s All-Decade team, he finished second on the Dolphins defense in tackles for loss, 12, and third in sacks, 5. Baltimore had a deal in place ahead of the NFL trade deadline to acquire Campbell, but head coach Mike McDaniel nixed it. Campbell spent 3 seasons in Baltimore, earning his 6th and final Pro Bowl selection in 2020. Now coming off a season where he played 600-plus snaps in Miami, Campbell could still be a primary contributor for either the Ravens or Dolphins this fall. And you, fan, what do you think about Calais Campbell's situation? Write to us in the comments.